Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to make an all-natural dish soap made from 100% coconut oil. I'm going to be making this using the hot process liquid soap making method. So we'll be making a soap paste, and then I'm going to share with you two different ways you can make dish soap out of this. In this video today, I'm going to be going over my full visual process and step-by-step tutorial, along with telling you how I came up with this formula and chatting with you a little bit about different ways to use this finished product, which I think is very exciting. So hopefully also you guys can leave some suggestions below. If something comes to mind, just leave it in the comments below and I'll take a look into how else I can use this finished product in other formulas. If you would like the full written recipe with amounts and percentages so you can scale up or down as you like, along with a full written detailed step-by-step tutorial, please head on over to my Patreon campaign. I'm going to go ahead and add this one into the household cleaning collection over there. So if you like this formula, you will also have access to my other household cleaning formulas, which include other dish soaps, solid and liquid, and also laundry detergents and all-purpose cleaners. I'll go ahead and place the link to my campaign in the description box below for you. If you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, I really hope that you will. There's so much to take advantage of over there, all in the hair care, skin care, candle making, soap making, and household cleaning areas that you can take advantage of. Just at the $5 level, you have access to hundreds of formulas and tutorials. We're coming up on the 6th year anniversary since the launch of my campaign, so there's so many resources over there. It's a great community of makers. It's a great way to connect with me and other makers as well. All right, let's get started. All right, so we're going to start off by weighing out the coconut oil that's needed for this formula. And again, we're using 100% coconut oil, and that is because coconut oil is an excellent cleanser and it brings a lot of foam and lather to your products as well, making a great soap for household cleaning products. So we're going to go ahead and weigh it off, and I'm just putting it into the liner of this crock pot because we're going to be melting everything down in a crock pot. And this is a stainless steel crock pot liner, which was sort of hard to find actually. So I'm going to go ahead and place the link to this in my Amazon store. If you're looking for one that's got a stainless steel liner, this has been a great option. It has temperature controls on it too. So we're going to go ahead and weigh off just the coconut oil that's needed here. We're not making a super big batch today. This crock pot is the one that I make my bigger batches of soap paste for foaming hand soap as well. So it gets a lot of use. All right, I've decided to go ahead and double this recipe. So I've added a little bit more coconut oil to my crock pot liner, and now we're just going to go ahead and place it in the crock pot. All right, I'm going to go ahead and set the crock pot to about 175 right now, just to get this melted down. And this formula was inspired by just some research on how to make natural soaps and natural dish soaps and laundry soaps. I've been doing a lot of research lately in that area using this hot processed soap paste method. And I started to see a lot of other formulas come up using Castile soap. And I know that that's really popular because you can do so much with Castile soap. It's very gentle. It's made mostly of olive oil and maybe some other soft or liquid oils. I've seen people do a combination of, but that's made popular by the Dr. Bronner's brand of pure Castile soap. And basically it's an all-purpose. You can use it as a hand wash, you can use it as a dish soap, you can use it as a laundry soap, and you can add other things into it as well, like fragrance oil, and also maybe for like all-purpose surface cleaners, people will add things like baking soda or washing soda. So I started to think about different ways to make a natural soap for dishwashing and possibly laundry and all-purpose cleaners and things like that, and just started thinking that coconut oil would be a good starting point, and that is because it does have such great cleansing properties and makes a good foam and lather. It also makes a clear liquid soap, as you'll see when we get to that point of the tutorial. So I just thought, why not try it that way and see what we get? And I can tell you that my test batches are working wonderfully. So I'll bring you back when this is all melted down. I can see it starting to melt down now, and we'll move on to the next step. All right, the coconut oil is all melted down. As you can see, it melts down into a clear liquid. We're sitting right around 150 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and now start to prep our lye and water solution for this formula. All right, so for this next part, we're definitely going to want to make sure we have our safety goggles on, our long sleeves and our gloves, and long pants and closed-toed shoes, because we're going to be working with some potassium hydroxide, which is a form of lye, and that can be very caustic before it turns into actual soap. So what we're going to do is go ahead and weigh off the water first. All right. Then we're going to go ahead and weigh off the potassium hydroxide. Make sure you're in a well ventilated area before weighing this off, as it is going to put off fumes and it's going to get extremely hot. All right. Then we're just going to give this a good stir. You're going to hear the chemical heat reaction. It's going to make a whooshing sound when I start to stir. All right, we're just going to allow that lye water solution to dissolve. We're going to be adding it to our coconut oil while everything is still hot. All right, I've taken the liner out of the crock pot to go ahead and do our mixing, and then I'll be placing it back in. I found this is the best way to control the heat while you're adding in hot lye and water solution to hot oils. So we're sitting at around 160 degrees Fahrenheit for the oils and 163 degrees on the lye and water solution. So if it's really hot when you combine and then you're applying heat, sometimes it can kind of bubble over and cause a negative reaction you don't want. So we're going to start off first by just pouring this in slowly. All right, I'm going to just take my spatula first and give this a good stir by hand, making sure we don't blend too fast. Then I'm going to take my immersion blender on low and start to blend to create trace. One of the good things with coconut oil soap is it does come to trace rather quickly. Make sure your stick blender is on low and submerged so that you're not splattering hot soap batter everywhere. Okay, we're reaching kind of a thick trace here, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and stop with my stick blender. I'm going to go ahead and just give this a stir by hand, and then I'm going to place this back in the crock pot. So we're trying to reach such a thick trace here. The goal is that it's so thick that you can't even run your stick blender through it anymore. And sometimes if you just give your stick blender a break when it's reached this kind of a thick, soupy texture right here, and you put it back into the crock pot, in a few minutes this will have done what you want it to do. So I'll bring you back and show you that. So after a few minutes of cooking, and I really mean just like a few minutes of cooking, and then putting the stick blender back in, this is what you're going to get. a very thick white soap paste. Now this needs to cook for about 3 hours. I still have it set at 175 degrees on the crock pot. But this is basically what it will look like when it's ready for the cook phase. So what I'm doing is just kind of pushing any air out of it and just kind of giving it a good stir so that we've got this evenly distributed. Then we'll put the cap on it and allow it to cook for 3 hours. Oh, I do have some soap paste that's already made from a previous batch, so I can show you what it looks like when it's all done cooking. But basically, it's a white paste that's sort of squishy to the touch, but also a little bit stretchy. This is what it looks like, and a little bit translucent, not totally opaque. That's how you know when it's done. And usually I cook it for about 3 hours, just to make sure all that excess lye is cooked off. So the next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and dilute down some soap paste to make our liquid soap. So all that requires is to add some soap paste to a container and pour some distilled water over it and allow it to dilute. So I've got some in the process of diluting right here. So essentially I've just put some of that solid soap paste, coconut soap paste, into this mason jar, and I've poured some distilled water over it. There's no hard and fast rule of how much water to how much soap paste. You will see all of my ratios in the tutorial over on Patreon of how much water I use to paste for this particular formula. But this is what it looks like as it's diluting. If you use hot distilled water or almost boiling distilled water, it does hasten this process a little bit. But I do have some that's already totally diluted. And this is what it looks like when it's totally diluted. It looks just like plain water. And it's almost the same viscosity as plain water, just a tad thicker. So the next step here is to show you how to turn this into a foaming dish soap. But isn't that beautiful? Just a beautiful liquid, clear soap. All right, so now we're just gonna go ahead and make the actual dish soap. You could just use it just like this, totally unscented, but I'm gonna share with you what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour off a little bit of liquid soap. All right. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add in some glycerin. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this to help enhance the length of how long the bubbles last. And that's kind of important to me. If it's not important to you, you can leave it out, but it does kind of enhance the foam and the lather. And it's also making it a little bit gentler on your hands. So we're going to go ahead and put in some glycerin, giving this a stir to combine. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some essential oils to this. You could leave that part out if you like, but I'm going to be adding in a combination of lemon and lavender. Lemon and lavender is a really nice combination. You could just do all lemon or all lavender. I really like the combination of lemon and lavender together. I think it's going to make a nice combination also for dish soap. Now the lemon is going to tint this a little bit yellow. That's okay. If you'd like to keep it a totally water clear formula, then choose an essential oil that is also water clear in color. If you come up with a formula that's cloudy, you decide to make your own formula, and you come up with a liquid soap that's cloudy after you dilute it, there's a couple things that could be happening, but most likely it means that you don't have enough lye in your solution to saponify all that coconut oil. So if it looks cloudy, it means there's some floating oils still in there, most likely. Sometimes it could mean that your lye is also on the older side. If you have lye that's older, it could also be not working as effectively, therefore not turning all of the oils into soap. So as you can see, my essential oils have clouded this up, but I suspect this will be a very temporary. It smells amazing. Now what I'm gonna do, this is the first way that you can use this as a dish soap, kind of like an all-purpose one. You guys have probably seen some of the newer dish soaps on the market are of a foaming variety. So we're gonna go ahead and that's the kind of formula that I'm going for here today. It's just a foaming dish soap, like some of the newer ones that are on the market. Some of them are on the more natural side as well. This one happens to be all natural. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and pour this into a 17-ounce foamer bottle. We're gonna give this a few minutes to just kind of emulsify and go back to a clear formula, and then I'll give you a little bit of a use demo. Now I'm also thinking that this beautiful liquid soap could be used in an all-purpose formula as well. So I'll be experimenting with that. You guys let me know if that's something also that you would like to see. So this is what it looks like now. I'm sure this will go back to clear, and I'll be back for a use demo. All right, so this has been sitting now for about a half an hour. As you can see, it hasn't totally cleared up yet, but it will over the next 24 hours or so. So I'll go ahead and put a little picture of the finished product after it sat for about 24 hours at the end of this video. We're gonna go ahead and do a bit of a use demo here. So I've just got this dirty bowl from the sink. It's got some sort of sauce on the bottom of it. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a wash, and then I'll show you the second way to use this. I know I mentioned that earlier, so I'm just gonna go ahead and watch this foam, you guys. Spraying some of the foam on here. It's so like gorgeous. So we're just gonna go ahead and wet the bowl. This is not one that you can put in your sink and fill up a sink full of bubbles. It just doesn't lather like that. So you're just gonna go ahead and put a little bit of soap. That was probably way too much soap, but I just wanted to show you how it works. Clean your dish. And then I'll rinse it. It just cuts through that grease and grime so well. And there you go, you have a clean dish. So the next thing I wanted to show you is how to just use the paste directly. So here's a little piece of the paste. It's just paste. It has no scent in it or anything like that. And you can actually use this directly on things like bake dishes, baking pans, sheet pans, or anywhere you want to use it as a bit of a scour that needs a bit of a scour. So here is an example of something I'm going to show you. I've got this glass tea kettle. I don't know if you can see that, but it sits on top of my stove and it gets these kind of grease marks and stuff stuck on it from things that cook on the stove. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you how to use this paste directly on your product. So you just take your paste. I'm going to wet just the paste. I'm just going to start rubbing it directly on the tea kettle so I can show you. Then I'm just going to wet my sponge a little bit, just taking out some of that excess soap as well, so I can show you how this works. And then I'm just going to take my sponge and just clean. Now I can tell you that these little grease marks and stuck food that gets on this kettle all the time is hard to remove. Just with ordinary dish soap, I've definitely tried that several times, and this removes it. Just putting that soap paste directly on those kind of stuck pieces, and there's some down here as well on this lid or on the handle. And just, again, taking your sponge. So if you had a big bake pan or sheet pan that you'd cooked on and you had some stuck stuff, you could allow that paste to just kind of sit and do its job before you start scrubbing. But most of it has come off. As you can see, I've got a little piece there. But I didn't even allow it to sit. I just rubbed it on and scrubbed. As you can see, it's made a big difference on this little glass tea kettle here. Just to give you another example, I'm going to show you the lid, but as you can see, it's coming out very nicely. And I'm going to just show you this lid here. See how it's sort of dingy and it has some grease buildup on here a little bit, but we're just going to take the paste again and rub it onto this little stainless steel piece here. Again, take your sponge and there you go. Nice and new and shiny looking. Well, there you go, everybody. That's how you make a beautiful, all-natural dish soap. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Please remember to leave me some comments and questions below. That really means a lot to me. Share this video with a friend, and why not subscribe to my channel? All right, everyone, catch you on the next video. Bye. Keep shining.